Here's where I think that we're getting the most value right now, guys. I think it's at Mahomes, 286.5 passing yards. I think it's Mahomes over 2.5 touchdowns at plus 135 right now. That's what I'm looking at. That's where I see the most
I like
value.
that.
Going, moving a couple of points on the point spread through mostly dead numbers. Yeah, it's something. It's worth talking about. Total dropping, same thing. But the Mahomes props, it's not like they're going to go run heavy tonight just because
Right?
Kelsey's going to be out. We've seen it in the past where he's missing guys, and he still goes for over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, it's a good point because I did think, are they going to use Isaiah Pacheco more in the run game? But one thing we do know for sure, and Joe brings up a good point, Mahomes is going to do something. So if we don't know who's going to be getting the ball, maybe we just focus on Mahomes. Where I landed is I might just stick with the over. I should have bet the 52.5 over yesterday. There's 153 out there. But I think without Chris Jones, I do think it's a bigger deal. And maybe in terms of the spread, it doesn't matter as much. But I do think this is pretty low for two high, powered offenses. And a lot of people really believe in Ben Johnson, the OC for the Lions. I think he could be a head coach one day. So I think he's going to cook up some things. And I think this could go over.
I look at, what the secondary consists of, and they played really well in the second half of the season. The whole thing is maybe they can't generate a whole lot of pressure, and that's going to matter in a game like this because Jared Goff does not handle pressure very well. But the secondary, I think, can contain Amon-Ra St. Brown and company, at least to an extent. What I think the Lions will do to counter that is probably throw short a little bit more. This is why it could be a Jahmyr Gibbs coming out party. That could be a possibility. Mm-hmm. Other guys who are perhaps more yak receivers, they could also play really well here. At the same time, when you do that, okay, that means fewer possessions, but it could also lead to stalled drives, turnovers, things like that. And ultimately, I think that's what's going to decide this game and why I'm probably leaning under right now just because of, plays that sort of wind the clock a little bit. I'm not that confident in it. I think there are props in this game that I really, really like much more. But yeah. I do expect the Lions to throw short, run a little bit more. Might be a David Montgomery game as well. I could see him going over his rushing prop. But I expect the Lions to be a little more methodical offensively, Joe.
We're staying away from Noah Gray. I'm kind of, until we get confirmation, I'm really not interested. Something we mentioned yesterday, BetMGM has Gray's receiving yards at 15.5. Touchdown, the best number I saw is plus 210. Right now, with the Kelsey stuff up in the air, I'm not interested in any Gray props.
No, I didn't.
See, I am actually.
You are right. Like right now, you would do it because.
Well, with the Kelsey news, that being possible, yeah. I'll wait. But even if he plays, that just means the number is going to go to the moon, and I may still be okay with it. Like I get, I think it's probably going to be value. I'm guessing. I mean, if it doesn't move at all, then no, I'm not taking it. Right now, I'm seeing 2-1 at last check or something like that.
Yeah, I saw plus 210.
Yeah, plus 210 on BetMGM. I like that a lot. Let's say Travis Kelce doesn't play. I think plus 210 is fantastic value. I think even first touchdown for Noah Gray, I think offers some fantastic value at 14-1, something like that. Love that play. Absolutely do. Because I think even without Kelce, look, the Lions play a lot of man coverage. So what do you want to do? You want to find big-bodied guys you can throw to who are going to go over the top and beat their defensive back covering them. I think Noah Gray is capable of doing that. Lions second in the NFL last year in playing man coverage. Travis Kelce, when he was out there, he scored in roughly 40% of his games. So higher percentage in terms of implied probability at plus 210. Yeah, Noah Gray to score without Travis Kelce, I think that's fine. And if that number moves a lot, if he is playing, I would still take it.
Jahmyr Gibbs, I think I might wait on him and just live bet. I mean, 30.5, I think it was Brad yesterday saying it was at 29.5. There's some 31.5s out there for his receiving yards. I might just wait and see how he's being used, have that number in my head, and if I see it drop or if I see he's being utilized, I might just live bet those props.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to pass up Mahomes' first touchdown at 22-1. I might just have
Oh.
to do it. How many times have we seen that happen?
I love
could
that.
I could totally.
Oh.
He's 4-1 for an anytime touchdown too, which is pretty good, especially if Kelsey's not out there.
Tampa Bay running back Rachaad White's receiving line is only 19.5 receiving yards against Minnesota. Last year, Vikings were bottom 10 in running back receptions, bottom 10 in running back receiving yards allowed. On average, they gave up almost 8 receptions for 39 yards to running backs. I need half of that for Rachaad White here. Rachaad White, probably a better receiver than he is a runner. He topped that 19.5 receiving yard line 8 times last year when Leonard Fournette was there soaking up tons of receptions. Now Rachaad White is the number one. He is the clear pass-catching running back that they've got. And the Vikings totally revamped their defense. Could be confused. There's a lot of reasons to believe that he will go way over the 19.5 receiving yards. This is a broken line alert. I love the opportunity right here.
Are we sure the Patriots can't finish second? Like, what if the Bills just
No.
run away with this thing?
No, we're not sure.
Like,
Yeah.
and that's just it. Like, this division is more of a stay away for me altogether because, first off, I have a Jets under. I know I've mentioned that a million times now, but if say the Bills still offer value finishing atop the division, then how do you set up 2 through 4? Because there are arguments to be made that the Dolphins could be a high variance team because of the health of Tua. That's a possibility. With the Patriots, I think this defense is a little overlooked. So that matters. And I think Mac Jones is in a better position. I mean, I think there's an obvious ceiling as far as what Mac Jones can do, but he will play better than he did last year. I think that is safe to say. And then with the Jets, it's the whole Aaron Rodgers thing that we've been talking about ad nauseum. So I almost feel like that if you buy into the Bills as being that much better than the rest of the division, how do you sort through 2 through 4? Because I think that assumption the Bills lead mean that 2 through 4 could be an absolute fight, and you're dealing with some really nuanced tiebreakers that make this relatively unknown.
What I would add to that is if you're buying into Ed's scenario right there, is that if you want to do that, if you want to do a Bills-Patriots bet, then you do an exacta because you get so much more value. Because if you do top 2, it's plus 650, but if you do Bills 1, Patriots 2, it's plus 1,000.